Afternoon, Rubén.
Afternoon, Richard.
I imagine it's been a difficult week. How's the mood been since last Saturday? What's the club done to support players and the staff?
Well, from the when the game finished on the last Saturday, of course, we were all disappointed. The fact that we didn't have a lot of chances to do it didn't take the emotion of the relegation. And what we have doing is just trying to make a balance between the feelings, the things that needs to be done, the conversations that we need to take to go through the last two games, and then from that we will see in the future.
Clearly different players, people are all different, they'll react in different ways. Do you have to balance, do you give more time off or do you just get straight back to it?
Yeah, already in the last month of competition we already plan to have more time off because the demands, physical demands of the games are always there, but we are ready physically for the last part of the season, but we also feel like after 11 months it's just a good time to give a couple of extra days to change a little bit the tempo. So it's nothing special from this week. We have been doing during May, and yeah, we take in consideration the individual character of every person, not only for the players, also for the members of the technical staff and the people working for the club. So we try to take care of them.
It obviously always feels insensitive to talk about someone's job, but especially in a difficult week. But do you know any more about your situation?
No, and I don't think it's insensitive. It is what it is. If I don't want people to talk about it, I should win more football matches, and I know the business, that's how it is. And no, we, as I said many times here to you, all of you, we talk with the club from the very beginning that we will make a review after the Liverpool game. And that's what I'm expecting. And then if the club want to make any movement with or without me, I expect them to communicate to me before it make it public.
Yeah. Those conversations haven't happened at all yet?
No.
Okay. Relegation also means that obviously an increased speculation about players moving on. Fans will be worried about players like James Ward-Prowse. Do you expect that to happen? Can it be avoided?
It cannot be avoided that some of the players will be out of the club, especially with the conditions when you get the relegation. It's always is in the transfer market. You know that all the boys are going to be in and out. It can happen that some of the boys will not be here next season. Not in the specific case of James, but of course it can happen, and it will happen that some of the players will not be here next year, and some others will be. That's football.
Final one from me. Brighton on Sunday. A decade ago, they would have looked at Southampton as the model club that they aspire to be. It looks like they may be overtaken Southampton at this point in this cycle. Do you agree with that? And if so, why do you think that might have happened?
Well, I don't know the history about that. What I know is that Brighton has been really good during the season. First with Graham Potter, and now with the Serbia. I think they play an attractive football, and you can recognize what they do every single game that they play. And I think it's a team that is performing really well in the Premier League. And of course, if you are doing that, is that because you do some good things that you have been building up for a long time. So I think I have the respect for what they have done and what they are doing. I have respect for Roberto because he's a great coach, and you can see it every time that his team play. And our task is just to go there and try to win the football game.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When you analyse Brighton, what impresses you most about what Roberto Di Matteo has introduced there?
No, I know Roberto from the time in Sassuolo, so I know what he can do with the teams. Also in Shakhtar Donetsk, he played an amazing football. So I'm not surprised that he could take his style and play it in the Premier League. The football in possession that he practices is a really good one. It's a little bit different of what the people is used to, or only the big teams are used to play with that kind of model. But Roberto has shown that you can do it with a different kind of environment, and I think that game in possession is how he impacted the Premier League.
He's made the shortlist for manager of the season in the Premier League. Do you think that was the right choice? Should he even be up there to maybe win it?
Well, I'm a little bit pragmatic in those things because I think the best manager is the number one in the league. And I'm a little bit pragmatic. If we are talking about resources and kind of players, budget, style, probably Roberto is one of them for sure. But in a different way also is Thomas Frank from Brentford. but I'm a little bit pragmatic on those things. So I think the number one, the one that wins the Premier League, is the best manager.
How about you, Rubén, this week? How tough has it been for you now that the relegation has been confirmed?
Well, as you know, it has not been easy from the very beginning. But the week has just special things during the week, because now it is what it is, and we cannot change the reality. Before that, we were on the fight. So it's just about how you recalibrate the situation, refocus, and try to get the very best of this group of players and the technical staff for the next 2 games. And that's what I have been trying to do, trying to be always in front of the things, trying to be clear, direct, and try to be supportive to everybody.
How do you do that? What did you say in your first meeting this week to try and get the best out of them in these 2 games where ultimately it's not really going to matter?
Well, because it doesn't matter which kind of a sport you practice. The first thing is that you play for yourself, and you train for yourself, and then you keep fit for yourself, you keep working in your mindset for yourself, and then you put yourself into the team, into a group of players that want to do things, want to play, want to do it together. So the first meeting, it was very simple. It's nothing new that we need to do it now, but when the fact that you cannot get anything from the table because it is what it is, it just comes into those things are even more important than ever, because you still need to play for yourself, need to be fit, need to try to keep your mindset, need to try to be free of any injury, and sometimes injuries come because you are not focused 100% in what you are doing. And this is the main thing. And then when you think about that, you think also about playing for a club, for the fans, for families that will go and support us on Sunday, for families that will come and watch the game against Liverpool, for the people that it is, and for the competition. And then you have enough arguments to go again.
To perform well in the Premier League, you need 100% focus from every player. And as was mentioned, there are going to be lots of thoughts in certain players' heads. Are you noticing, without naming names, can you see people distracted in training, thinking of other things, perhaps not being as motivated as they might have been?
It's difficult to see it because the situation masks a lot of things. So everybody can have a bad day, and that doesn't mean that they are thinking about any other club or team or manager that called them. And it's not easy to read those situations. Of course, we notice in some different persons in all the organigram, not only with players, that during the week they have been a little bit down, a little bit distracted. But it's natural, and as I say, sometimes it's because they get something going on behind. Sometimes it's just a disappointment of the season. Sometimes it's just a private thing that is not related with what we are talking about, football. So the situation is masking some of the things.
And your team on the weekend, will you simply be picking the best 11 players to beat Brighton, or will there be other factors like going forward?
Well, it's going to be a little bit of everything. I'm going to be I will have in the pitch the team that I think that can be Brighton, but that implicates also some of the things that the team needs to move forward and make the next step.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Just carrying on from that, Rubén, does that mean that certain players from the B team, like Don Ballard, who played in the League Cup, of course, earlier in the season, and other players might get a chance to be involved?
Potentially, yes, but they have been training with us for the last 3 weeks. And they have been in our trainings for the whole season. As you know, it was not easy to complement them and to have them because it was a big squad. But some of them came with us a lot of times. Don made his debut, and during the week, Don Ballard, Cami, and Sam Amo has been training with us, and then potentially they will be involved in the game.
Thank you. You said earlier, rightly, that you would like to be communicated with before stuff is made public about the future, but also you obviously want to be communicated with as soon as possible so you can know what your life's looking like going forward. And there are already stories about Russell Martin at Swansea and other managers, so somebody's doing something that isn't giving you the job next season. So what do you want now? Let's say you don't get the job. Yeah. Do you want to stay as a coach, or now you've had that management experience, do you want to now find a club to manage if you don't stay?
First question is if I want to stay as a coach, if I know the manager, absolutely not. So that if somebody has a doubt, you can put it there, or if they don't know through me, they can read it in the media. That's very direct. And yes, I will try to make my career as a manager, here if it's possible. If it's not, I hope it's going to be in another place.
And what have you learnt about the job since you took over? Because you've made your experiences from last summer arriving to now have been far more intense, I imagine, than you thought they might be when you arrived.
Well, I think for that we need to sit here for some hours and talk about everything that we have been through, and then get what I have learned from the experience. Definitely, when I took the job, I have an idea of what it is, because I support a lot of managers here with Ralph and Nathan. I just lived those moments for the last 3 months, staying with you, preparing everything, taking. Sometimes you support the decisions, and now you need to make the decisions. So I learned the practical part of it, also the part that means to be exposed in the media and exposed with the fans and everything. So I took really a lot from the experience, and I also took for myself how I reacted, how I make things happen, and what I can do better for the next time.
Just finally, on Brighton, I think we've all been surprised that De Zerbi has built so well on what Graham Potter started. You talked about how good they are in possession. Can you just explain to us why they're so good? What makes them so effective as a team? For us laymen that don't play football, what makes them so good?
Well, when Roberto took the team after Graham, the team was already in a good position in some really good development. So sometimes it's a tricky situation. But if you know the history of Roberto, again, Sassuolo, Shakhtar Donetsk, what I follow, you can see that his teams, they always had that personality. So he's actually playing the style that he believes. And that's the key of the question, because we can discuss about what people like or not like. If you can more high pressure team, intensity, counter-attack, counter-pressure, you like more team in possession, you like to be a medium block team and then go for the counter-attack from lower. But I think the key has been that Roberto has played his game from the very beginning with a group of players that were already hungry and wanting to do better things that they have already done, and that makes, I think, it worked really well. And then as long as I know, Brighton has a powerful platform in terms of organization that help him to move the club into possibly the next level.
A lot of managers in history, a good team reflects the personality of the manager. Yes. That's what we're saying. Yeah?
Exactly. That's the point. But it's not a surprise. If you know a little bit international, and I didn't play against his Shakhtar, but I have been watching the qualifications for the Champions League, them in Champions League or in the Ukrainian League. Then you know, or in Sassuolo with it in Italy, then you know which kind of coach, and you can expect that kind of game. Sometimes you are not able to just mix your idea with the club idea, but in this case I think it worked perfectly well for them. Thank you.
Okay, move on to the section for 10:30 this evening. Start with Jacob.
Hi Rubén, you say you want to be a manager now. What things have given you the belief in these last couple of months that makes you capable of making a step up?
Well, I think it's a lot of things. I think I have a team that you can recognize in a lot of times. And we didn't get the result, but we didn't lose our identity in a lot of occasions. We were a team that was hard to beat, and I think only the key moments of the game were what put us away. So in that sense, if somebody will ask you which kind of team looks like a Rubén Sellés team, you can have an answer. I think that's the first thing. The second thing will be one of the situation, and the situation in the club in the last 3 months, and probably was a difficult time, the way that I handle things, internal or external. I don't say that I do a great job, but just people can analyze and talk with everybody that work with me, and those two things, and the fact that I think I know how to prepare football matches, and that to keep a team working together and keep alive until the last second, I think I can have that chance.
How have you found managing players off the field? Because it must be different being the assistant manager to being a coach, where you perhaps need to be a little bit more tougher.
Yeah, it's a little bit different, of course, when everybody can recognize you wherever you go, when your kids get that comments in the school almost every single day, or you go and eat to the restaurant and somebody recognizes you. It's a little bit different, but it is what it is. It has not been hard or difficult. You just need to get used to it.
Do you feel you've been able to impart your influence, imprint your style onto the team fully?
Well, as much as I can, not fully, but it's and that's why we are in this situation. And of course, for sure, we can do better things. But I try as hard as I know.
Do you think the club have got enough time this summer to make the number of changes they have to make in order to compete in the Championship?
Well, it's always enough time when you have 6 weeks until the next restart. It's about how you organise and plan those things.
How important is clarity now in terms of moving forward, not only for yourself but for the players and the staff?
I think clarity and honesty is always important, and that's some of the values that I always try to put in perspective for everywhere. I just think that the way you do one thing is the way that you do everything, because is reflecting what you are and how you are. So, and one of the things, if as clear as you are, then it's not a grey zones or 50-50 situation. Then it's this one or this one. Then it's not going to be two different realities. So I think clarity is important in every situation, and of course in the situation that we are right now, it's even more important. Thank you.
Hi Rubén, could I just get some team news on for the Brighton game? Is everyone fit, or any injuries that have come up this week?
Yeah, we have only one change from the last week, and it's that Tino Martinez finally is selectable for the team. It's just they have a restriction on time, of course, but he possibly will be in the squad for Sunday.
How much good news is that for him? Because obviously it's been over a year now since we last saw him for the first team as well. I know he played the B team, but how happy is he?
Well, he's happy. He's just buzzing. He's just ready to go and play. And it's a very good news also for the club to get one player like Tino, who is just very, very important for the club in the present and in the future. So I'm very happy for him. Finally, looks like he passed that injury, and then he can be focused on the future.
Great. And so does that mean Trey Adams is also unavailable for this weekend? Do you think he'll play against Liverpool, or could that be the end of this season?
I'm not sure that he can play against Liverpool, but I'm not sure also to the opposite. So we are managing that. So if it was for sure, I will tell you, like Armel Belakopchap is out for the rest of the season, but not with Shea. We need to go and see if he will be part of the Liverpool game or not.
What kind of injury is that Shea has?
Well, Shea had a problem with the calf that was repeated a couple of times of the season, and then we knew that it was hard for him to come back that early when he played against Nottingham Forest, and we built him up a little bit. So it's just it's not the same injury, but it was a discomfort related with that, and that's the injury that we are talking.
All right, thanks, Rubén.
Thank you.
Alex?
Rubén, I think I'm right in saying that when you accepted the manager's job, you actually sort of sacrificed your coaching contract. Was that because you knew it would be difficult to go back to being a coach, having had the top job?
Well, it's if you want to have all-in mentality, it's not only words, and that's what I did. So I was clear that if I took the step, it's just a definitive step in this club, and I hope it's a definitive step in my career. That's why I did it.
Yeah. I mean, it was obviously quite a brave thing to do, but the way you're talking, no regrets about that decision at all?
No, not about that decision. I will not change any single second. Of course, I will change the results that we had and maybe some decisions, but of course, if you evaluate your time, of course, those things that you can be and you can do better. But I don't change that decision. It was an all-in, all or nothing moment, and I am always all.
And it has been reported that even if your future is away from Southampton, there are already clubs, maybe back in Spain, maybe in the Championship, who are showing an interest in you as their next manager. Is that the case? Are discussions taking place along those lines?
Yeah, well, Pepe, my agent, is working on those things. I got a report every 2 to 3 days, and there has been some interest, but I'm not talking with anybody until I will finish the season with Southampton. But as much as the gossip is for other ones, it's also for me.
And how do you feel when you read the gossip that Southampton are already actively talking to other managers, when actually it's not been relayed to you that you're not part of the future? Is that disappointing in any way?
No, you know, the gossip is the gossip. I don't know the reality of those things, because if I need to lose in the names that we have been reading, then it's not only one, it's more than one. But it's always the same. If you don't want that gossip around you, you need to win more football matches. That's how it works, and we know it. So that I respect the club, and everybody knows it. I have an agreement until the end of the season. We make the points clear that we will speak after Liverpool, and I expect that if something happened before, I will be the first one that will be communicated in one way or the other.
And you think that will be before Liverpool, so you'll know going into the Liverpool game if it is your farewell or not?
No. I didn't mean that. I just mean that if the clubs wanna, the decision and the agreement with the club is just to speak after the Liverpool game. But if the club decided to make any decision for after the Liverpool game, before the Liverpool game happened, I expect it to be communicated in the proper way before it is public.
Just finally,
that doesn't make sense. Maybe it's my English that isn't so good, but okay.
Yeah. And just finally, you've spoken about the need for some players to move on, new ones to come in. I know you've got a good relationship with the players. Have any of those senior players relayed to you yet that they feel they need to move on, they feel they need to be playing in the Premier League next season?
No. We don't have those conversations, and I for sure I'm not the one that they should have those conversations if that conversation is happening. It's not. Doesn't matter the relation what we have. It's not a conversation for me to have with them, and so it didn't happen.